Hello and welcome to a special presentation from In the Money Media. Little bit of thank you to everybody for supporting us during the Saratoga meet. We weren't going to do this necessarily, but when we saw the carryover come in yesterday, when that favorite hung in the last, it was going to be time to do something special for the folks who've been supporting this content all summer long. So we decided to put together an Inner Circle-like broadcast. What do I mean Inner Circle-like? Well, weekly since Inner Circle launched, except for maybe 1 week, we have done a broadcast like this just for our Inner Circle people at 11 a.m. on, typically it's been at 11 a.m. on Saturdays. We've moved that around a lot, depending on post times, depending on when the racing is. But we're here today, and the idea of these shows is we try to make them a little bit more interactive. We just try to talk exactly the conversation we'd have off air about what our favorite things to bet are. So the way I think we structure it is we're going to spend the first half of the show going through this pick six carryover. And then in the second half, if folks have specific questions, races they want us to look at, we'll do that. And then we'll also just go around the horn and say, hey, are there any other things, Chris, Jackson, Mikey, that you want to bet today? So folks, how can folks, this will also be sent around in an archive. We're going to be opening up Inner Circle again, I'm pretty sure sometime before Breeders' Cup. Be on the lookout for that. If you're interested in joining our In the Money Plus service, you can do that as well. That one, you can get more information in themoneypodcast.com/plus. Just from the numbers rolling in, Mikey, have we tweeted this? Should we tweet this as well?
It's live on Twitter currently. So
it is? Okay.
Yes.
Let me retweet it. Feels like we can get some more people coming in.
On your feed, so
yeah. Oh, that's perfect. So we will. Yeah, there it is. So we will be able to. I'm gonna filibuster just for another minute while we let some people turn up, and then we will. We'll do what I said. We'll start going through these races and seeing what's what. Mikey, I'm sorry. It sounded like in your own betting you had very close call yesterday. You were smart enough to spread. What was it that got turned over with that rough trip in the fifth race?
Yeah, I mean, I had pick threes, pick fours, all live because I liked the Antiquarian yesterday. I liked that first timer in that 2-year-old race on the grass. So I was pretty live there to the horse, the 4-horse that had the brutal trip there in the turf race. So just didn't happen for me, but and the Inner Circle bet that we made, I mean, it came close, and that was a pick 5 that paid, I think, $35,000 or something. So yeah. I mean, I think we were on the right bet. It's just, it
would have been way less if we hit it. To be fair, it would have been way less because I'm sure so much of the money went through that. It was Echo again. Is that the name of the beast who just lost a neck? But whatever, it would have been 10. I mean, because we had it more actually, because we had it more than one time.
Correct.
The way the process was really good, and the way we did it. We're not going to talk about that software here on the free side. Plus, people, I will be facilitating the use of it. But using the software we used, the tickets were good. The process was good. You're going to be wrong a lot more than you're right. You're going to need luck to go your way. And the big one that we hit on Travers Day, 2 noses we won to have us hit that. Afterwards, it always feels preordained. But if you're being honest with yourself, playing horses or betting sports, it's that there's an insane amount of randomness and luck involved. That's why you just got to control what you can control, dial down on your process, do that right, and hope that it balances out to the good. But the reality is there's somebody out there who's a lifetime winner, who's just a lucky SOB, and maybe the sharpest player is a loser if you're playing these, high variance bets just because the randomness is such. I truly believe that statement. So don't get too up, don't get too down, plug along. And that's what we're going to do on this Monday, special Monday carryover. Pick 6. Going to stay up here in Saratoga. Going to head home tonight. We're up in the 3 digits here. So I say we start, boys. Mm-hmm. And what an easy race. Full, facetiousness alert to kick things off. 2-year-old filly statebreds where the workout report has many more negatives than it does positives. That's another thing we'll do on the Inner Circle level on some of these shows is we can talk about things like workout reports, because it's not, it's kind of wrong to do that too explicitly when you're going out to the wide world like this show is. But hey, when it's just us, we will. Anyway, it's tricky. Chris, you like these 2-year-old races probably more than the average bear. Who do you like in here?
I'll start with the 6. I've got to assume Kendrick's going to pick this mount up. I don't think he's on anything else. Linda's stats in this situation, 2-year-old first-timer turf sprints, is horrible. 0 for 13, 0 for 6 at Saratoga. But one thing, speaking of workout reports, this week alone, there's been 3 different horses in 2-year-old races with no videos to watch, nothing on the workout reports. 2 of them have won. The third one got second yesterday and was the best horse. So that would have been 3 for 3. I'm sure it's all a coincidence that there's nothing out there about these horses. And the 6 falls in that category. So I'm going to use that one.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. That was one that I was keeping in the mix simply because there was no negative workout report like there were for so many of these others.
And
who else do you like here?
Next, I'd go to the 7, Island Charm, simply because Brittany Russell's the only person in here that's got positive stats in this specific scenario. And my other A is the super interesting horse, St. Margaret. This barn's 2-year-olds have ran sneaky good this whole meet. And just, because of who it is, nobody pays attention, I'm told. This one, the barn's overall has had 6 2-year-olds run here, 2 for 12, 58% in the money. This one here was slightly best than a horse that ran second on debut, Fonzie Angel, on the 26th of July, slightly better than Sweet Montreal, won at a huge price on debut, another 2-year-old of this barn. Then Funny Factor, it worked even with this one. And that was another one that won yesterday. And then the Sweet Montreal was yesterday as well, part of what triggered this carryover. Those are the 3 horses I'm going to use. The 1 and 10 or my Bs. If somebody's making a caveman or have a strong opinion somewhere else, I'd want to include those. But from a monetary standpoint, I cannot. I'll just use my main 3.
Yeah, your short list is remarkably similar to mine. And I like your angle a lot on the Ryerson 2-year-olds. I mean, when you're 2 for 12 in a certain category and 2 for 28 on the meet, that alone tells you something. My other angle on St. Margaret was simply 425 at OBS March, 2-year-old in training sale, off a $7,500 stud fee. What does that tell you? That tells you she's fast. Now, I don't know what happened, but if the plan seems a little late for an OBS March 2-year-old to be coming out, but hey, in this field, may be catching the right one. Mikey, where are you in here?
I'm very similar to Chris. I do think the 7 is interesting to me. That the improbables have done very well. Turf sprinting, that's one category that has shown up. City Zip, was his sire. So I mean,
should be good turf sprinting.
Turf sprinting, and you get Johnny here. The fact that Brittany shows up, she's had limited starters at the meet, lacks a win, but maybe this could be one that to kind of get her off on the last day. So I think that one's interesting. The 6 is pretty obvious here for Linda, just with that breeding, and hopefully, like Chris said, Kendrick shows up there. I could definitely see the 9 though. I like Street Bosses on the bottom, and they paid a lot of money for this one. So I mean, with a race that lacks, horses that are really coming in hot, I think that one could be used also. But we're gonna have the benefit of the odds board too, and that's a huge key, I think, to this.
Yes, and I don't think we're going to probably have enough consensus to ultimately make a ticket, but if we did, we don't have to decide now. So just something to point out. Jackson, how about you? Are you sort of on the same 6, 7, 9 train?
Yeah, 7 would be my top pick. I'd also use a 5 though, just because the only horse that has any kind of experience in a race like this, where the workout reports, as you guys mentioned, are not that encouraging for really any of these horses. So at least we know the horse ran okay on debut and is probably supposed to move forward for that barn. Pratt Brothers are right back too, so that's a horse I would probably look at, just because there's so many other unknowns in this race. But definitely want to watch the board.
The winner there was bet pretty hard yesterday in that Kentucky Down Stake. Ultimately, didn't do much in there, but I mean, did take a ton of money going for the $1 million.
And Jackson has a valid point. In the end, I tossed this horse because Rudy in this situation's 0 for 18, and that barn is just so cold. But Pratt sticking aboard's a big positive. But horse did no running last time, but on debut, that's the case a lot of times. So no, that horse is very logical, and Jim, the four has some nice works, really fast, snug hold right at the beginning, and then gets a little short late. Ultimately, I faded that simply because Ray Handle is 0 for 16 in this scenario, 0 for 8 at the spa. But of course, these are horses, and nobody probably told Sassy Sat that Ray Handle's bad in this, this situation. So he may run his eyeballs out.
Let's move on to race number 7, where we've got these 3-year-old allowance horses going 1 mile on the dirt. Jackson, we'll let you start this time.
Yeah, I would start with the 3-horse spot, fully subscribed for Chad Brown. Just, won her only race on debut, won pretty impressively over a decent group, but the runner-up came right back to win. And the number for, October 2-year-old is actually okay. So if you factor in improvement from 10 or 11 months ago, she should be right there against this group. And I just wasn't super, impressed with any of the horses in this spot. So I'd have her on top. I would use a 7 next on stage for sure as the speed of the speed. There's really not a whole lot of speed in this spot for, a Wilson shoot race where we all know speed is so dominant. I think she's going to be in front. She's the one to catch. The last time she had the lead, she got run down by Ragtime, who would be a massive favorite in here. So no shame in finishing second to that filly. I'd use those two pretty heavily in this race. Maybe a little bit of the one on the rail for Bill Mott because she could be 4th place too, but mostly just 3 and 7 for me.
Yeah, those are my 2 as well. So there is some serious agreement so far in here, but let's see what the boys have to say. Chris, where are you in race 7?
I'm considering singling the 3, but my next in line would be the one, Cue the Duck Boats. I've liked this one prior to debut. Has kept good work company the entire time. Went 1 mile and 1/8 and won at Churchill. And then the race at Ellis, you can toss. And that was a pretty bad ride over a kind of a packed, sloppy track, run 3 and 4 wide the entire way. But that horse has showed talent ever since back in the, in the fall of last year when they first started working her. And then I've looked at this outside horse for Chad as kind of the one that I've got on the A list, and I decided I wanted to fade. The last 2 races came over muddy and sloppy tracks. Ran a big number last time on my figures when it added the blinkers. But Chad's entered this thing 3 times in the month of August as MTOs. I'm wondering if he's just looking for that sloppy track. And then the 4 and the 6 were 2 horses that have sneaky races that kind of scared me, but I'm going to be a situation where I have to fade them just because of cost.
Could be interesting to see if there are team tactics with the Chad runners. Maybe Merceau going out there creating the pace with next on stage. That could certainly help. Fully subscribed, but I still saw what Jackson saw about next on stage potentially being loose. So that's where my 3-7 came from. Mikey, how about you?
I agree on a lot of these thoughts. And the key is, does the 7 blast? I mean, you get Kendrick now, but 8 shares and 21 lifetime starts. That's the thing. The only, I think, scenario that gets this horse to win this race is if she's by herself on the front. Yeah, she has to be by herself. Otherwise, she doesn't get the front. She gets nothing whatsoever. I understand the 3, and another thing to think about is they're fighting for the trainer title. I think Chad's up 1 on Fletcher here, so he's bringing some horses in here this last day. I think he has 10 starters. So the fact that a couple of these are coming back off layoffs here, they could be cranked and ready to roll. And I do think that you should think about that a little bit. The horse that I don't know what to do with as a 4, right? Because that trip last time was just absolutely ridiculous. This horse has numbers to run back to. Could get a better trip in here, and if she does, I think she's very scary. If she gets an outside stalking type trip in this race, similar to some of the other ones, I know she likes to come a little bit from off of it, but I do think she's interesting here for Brad Cox, who certainly has been better the last couple of weeks here. So I agree with 3, I agree with 4, and 7 is sort of a B for me because I'm not sure that to use that horse on the A line when there's only really one way that she can win is, I think, maybe could be a little bit of a big use of equity. So just my thoughts.
If Merceau wasn't in the race, the 7 would be like a must-use A for me. The more I look at it with Merceau in there, I would be okay with that 7 as more of a B. But we'll see. Again, this is all just theoretical, just talking through the races at this point.
And talking about the pay scenario with the 7 that y'all like, the horse Mikey mentioned has a lot more speed than showed last time. Broke a little slow for whatever reason, and then just kind of took the bit and was running off. Every time he'd get any kind of rain, he would just take off and run up on horses. That horse breaks sharp. Kendrick better be riding because this one can run.
Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting. Let's talk about the 8th race where we've got an allowance for 3 and up fillies going 1 mile and a 16th. Mikey, you kick this one off.
So I think you have to kind of make a decision here on the one, right? Because dirt race last time got a big figure for Chad, comes back. The turf lines are okay, is bred very well for the turf, and I think the return here could. This is a good spot for this horse, especially if the turf suits. I think the improvement is there. I think that one would be a must use. 10-1 morning line. I don't think you're going to get 10-1 on this horse. And the 6 I think has raced very well with up close trips. Almost runs the same race every time. Is right there. Seems to want to fight for it. I think could be another one to maybe controlled this race. We saw yesterday how well that worked out for a lot of the the turf races. So I think the 6 would be, and the one of the 6 would be my 2 main ones in here. But others can win. I think the 9 will take a lot of money in here and has had rough trips. So that would be another one I think you would probably have to use.
Yeah, I'd insist on the 9. In fact, I mean, that's just one of my favorite angles, full stop, coming out of those, trying to close in a blue fraction time form US race. And I don't doubt that your 6 could be the speed of the speed here, Mikey, but they're going to go. There's plenty of other pace. I think it should set up beautifully for Curlin's Angel. Chris, who did you like?
I like the 6. I think we'll be inside speed and all the speed you're talking about. The reason I want to use the 6 is because the 2 best horses in the race are going to be coming from so far out of it, and all this other speed is going to be backing up right in front of them. So I kind of wanted to have both there. And 6, 8, and 9 are my 2 A's. I thought the 11 was a borderline A, but draws wide here. And the 10 was a little bit interesting. Always kind of shows up for a small barn, going to get a first run trip. It's going to have to chase this fast pace, but if the closers get caught up in traffic and the 6 folds, I could see the 10 picking up the pieces. Ultimately, the 6, 8, and 9 are the 3 horses I'm going to play, and the 10 or 11 are B's. And I did look at the 1 Mikey mentioned and had that one listed as a C, and I'll probably play some, pick 4, pick 5, covering my bases with some of these, B and C horses.
It's a logical approach. I mean, it really depends. What you're going to come up with in here is going to 100% depend on how you design this race, because there's stories you can tell from all over the shop. Jackson, what about you?
I was on the 8 horse. I thought she had not ideal trips in both of her starts here. The race on Belmont weekend was on the inner. The inner was just super speed that whole weekend, and that race was a downpour. And I know they went really fast, but no one closed. The race was just totally dominated by front end horses. So I thought she actually ran okay in that spot. And then last time she came back was 3 wide both turns. Another race that the speed didn't go that fast, and the speed just completely held together. I thought she ran really well to close into that and just missed. So has those 2 starts under her belt, has the paired up by her tops. I think we'll see a step forward. The biggest question mark for me is she going to get enough pace in this spot too? Because I don't know if there's that much speed. I think they're going to go honest, but I don't know if they're going to go fly necessarily. So Pratt's going to have to hopefully have her a little bit closer than he did the last couple of times.
Interesting. Yeah, I was sort of following in with time form and them having War Siren going. I think the 6 is going to go. Feels like the 11 has to go from the outside draw.
Kendrick's now on the 11, so that horse is going.
Yep. He's got to make his money before the suspension kicks in. And I love Kendrick, but boy.
I felt bad for him yesterday as well.
It's a subject for another podcast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways you can go in this race. So let's move on to the stakes race. The hopeful traditional closing day feature here at Saratoga. Chris, who do you like?
Well, mostly I'm glad I didn't pay $1.7 million for Romeo, but I'm going to use that horse as an A. I don't think I ever could have paid that much money for a horse that moves like he does, but regardless of how ugly he is moving, he does it in a fast manner. I'm going to use that horse. My top pick's going to draw the rail, which is a little bit of a problem, but Curtain Call I really like, and I'm going to use the Baffert horse. I'm home. That horse wasn't overly ridden last time. If I go by my figs, them 3 horses dominate the rest of this group. Ted Nafi, I'm going to fade going to take money. I wasn't that impressed with that horse before the debut, and he went out there, did his job, won. He's going to have to improve massively and has reasons to, but I'm going to fade that horse. I think he's going to get overbet.
Yeah, we're totally oppo here. I really like Ted Nafi. I think the slowish figure is going to mean you get a backable price, and I thought it was a completely excusable low figure, stalking a slow pace. It's one of those, how fast can they really go? So I'm going to just upgrade that based on dynamics, and to me, looks like a runner who will appreciate the added ground, and I like the outside draw and the pilot. So we'll see, but we're obviously very oppo in there. I do like Ted Nafi quite a bit in the hopeful. Jackson, how about you?
Yeah, tough race, I thought. I'd try to beat this Baffert horse. I don't think it's a great sign that this horse is out here because, usually he wants to win the Del Mar Futurity. He's going to keep his best horses out west for that one. And look, the horse beat was Falcon Jet. The horse already lost 3 times and came back and got smoked again yesterday. He was beating like 10 lengths. So I don't know how good that field really was, to be honest. And there's a lot of other speed in this race, too. His horse, Soldier and Diplomat, was outside very fast, as is Romeo, as is the Rail Horse, as is the 2. I mean, there's speed in this spot. I'd be against the 5 in here. I think it's a bad sign that he's out here. So I went to the 6, Soldier and Diplomat. I do like that the 7 came out. I think that helps his chances because now he's the outermost of the speed horses. Yep. I haven't seen who's riding yet. I know it was Iraq.
Do we have that change?
Santana.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yeah. He's on fire this meet. Yeah, and his speed rider, he'll be on the outside. And this is the only horse that kind of was involved in a fast pace early on. Most of these other horses are coming out of lower pace races. I thought he hung on pretty well last time to stay on for the win. And, horses from this barn typically improve second time out too. So that's a good sign for him. So I'd be mostly about the 6 in here. The others are kind of just okay for me. For me, I think I've tried to get some separation, lean on the 6.
I was hoping that Acosta, how did Acosta end up running there? In my mind, it wasn't overly impressive. That was the one I was looking for a form clue, and then I was going to be ready to make like Soldier and Diplomat my co-pick in here.
Hang on.
Yeah, he ran fourth.
Yeah. And not terribly impressive. But that's not a reason to not use the horse. I had Soldier and Diplomat as like a contender anyway, and I was just gonna make him almost like a co-top choice if that form line was looking better. Mikey, how about you? Where are you in this hopeful where you can obviously go a number of different ways?
I like the 1. I think that I just like the progression here, right? First time out, Cassie faced obliteration. I mean, that was a rocket ship there. No beating that one. Shows up here. And I thought raced very well second time out. Didn't get the best of trips. I know it was a short field, but I had a little trouble at the start. Had to, be behind horses. Made a very nice move, and then won off very, very well. Now you get the third start here. You get the increased distance. It's Cassie with 2-year-olds. I'm definitely on board with that. So I just think that he's the one that I think can sit off this little bit from the speed that's going to definitely develop here. I mean, the 2, the 3, the 5 is definitely going to go. Baffert's not coming here not to blast away here. I think the 6 will be outside. So I understand your 8, but I do think that the 1 could get a similar type of trip, just an inside type of stalking trip. So I like him. I don't mind Romeo. I think he's okay. And that was a nice race at Churchill. That was a tough field. He's very speedy. I think he's, wants to kick away from horses. So he would be maybe my other A in the race. And then just, I don't mind AI as far as maybe an underneath type. I know the figure was bad, but you just don't see horses coming from 20 lengths back to win. I know the field was terrible, but he's a closer in a speed-filled race. And
yeah, that's fair.
To win from 20 lengths back, you just don't see that. And then they entered at Monmouth. They end up here. He's more like a horse that I could see kind of clunking up to get third, and whenever they're
fourth. Yeah, good verticals. Yeah, I hear what you're saying there. Absolutely, no reason that horse can't run third or fourth, because if they hit up front, they'll be looking for somewhere to lie down around the 8th pole. He'll have been in his own race way out of it, and might just pass some tired horses to get third or fourth. Maybe I've just knocked him into the winner's circle, but boy, that'd be one I'd have to wear it to happen. Let's go to race number 10, the Sarinac Stakes. Traditional late season race for these 3-year-old colts, going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. Mikey, we'll keep it with you.
Ton of speed here. If you look, there's a lot of horses, especially on the outside. Horses like Tank, Crudo's in this race. He's a speed type. they get the grass. Well, this horse is bred for the grass, so I could see this horse being involved early. Mibago's a one-way rocket from the gate, so they're going to be flying early. So I'm going to take closers. I think the one's pretty obvious from that standpoint. Was favored last time and really hit the gate and had trouble. No chance to win. Now, hopefully, you get a better trip here. Pratt Sticks would be a definite use. And then the 3 Stars and Strides, it's Mott, off the pace type trip, got the grass after, the big figure first time out right in the slop, then sort of a dud against Rookie Card and those horses there. Got the turf, got a win. I know that there was some controversy in that race also, but I think that he's probably going to get the right trip. So I'd be 1 and 3 there.
I like those 2. What about the 10 as a closer? Did the post put you off? What you give that one any count?
The horse is coming from Delaware. I guess has faced okay types, and it's going to get that closing type trip. Did close at Gulfstream, so you can't really fault those lines there. He's just okay for me. He's going to be a price. I do think it's interesting that Jose Ortiz jumps on here. So yeah, I don't mind him. He's okay for me.
At a price, I think it's going to be hard to get, from the 10, that kind of trip. But who knows? Maybe you can get over and get an inside out. I do like, for the record, I like your 1 and 3 more. I just was another, when we're talking about closers in the race, was one I wanted to throw out there for discussion. How about you, Jackson? Are we on the right train looking for a closer to win the Sarinac?
It has to be, right? Look who's entered in this race. There are so many horses that have one way to go in this spot. If they don't fly in this race, I don't know what these jockeys are doing. So hopefully they fly. I was all about the 3 Stars and Strides. That last race I thought was pretty impressive. That race kind of collapsed towards the end, and he was the only one that was near the front that held on. He made the first move, and they were never really getting by that horse, even after he did that goofy thing at the top of the stretch. I thought he won that race pretty decisively, to be honest. And it's only his 3rd career start. He's got an inside draw. He can come from just off of the pace. I think he's the one you want in this spot.
Terrific. Chris, any intention?
None at all. Stars and Strides was probably 2 lengths better than he finished. I have to use the 1. I've always liked that one. The horse you mentioned, the 10 is my lone B that I think will get first run on all the speed.
Yeah. If we did a group ticket, you could just play 1 and 3 here. That would help a lot.
That's what I'm doing. I'm playing 1 and 3. I just had to put the 10 out there. So when he beats me, I can say, well, I've seen it. I just didn't play it right.
That's the kind of horse that I would, you're alive after 2 legs. I come back and play some pick 4s and use, I don't necessarily need on the big ticket because it is going to be a challenge. Of course, it's also the one that could unlock the giant payoff if you're narrow elsewhere. Unfortunately, we're not terribly narrow elsewhere, so it makes it kind of tricky. But yeah, good discussion on that race, and one where I feel, I feel like that's the kind of conversation you want to have before narrowing down on a group ticket. Whether or not we use that info today, it's just good to lock away in the memory banks. Let's go to this nightcap, the last race of the Saratoga meet. They're taking it easy on us today. It's 5:49 Eastern. Somehow I'm on TV for 2 hours past this today. No idea what they want me looking at. I guess it'll just be, what is it going to be? Del Mar? I don't even know. Anyway, that's a me problem. The you problem is who's going to win. Jackson, tell me.
Easy race. You only need 2. I'm going to use the price first and go to My Sharona. This horse I've been waiting to run back. Have a couple trip notes on her. The race in December was just a complete pace collapse, and she got run down late. She survived the pace duel, got beat by Ramify, his Chad Brown runner. So that she actually ran okay in that spot. Then came back in the stake as a maiden on a big inside rail bias day. She was always outside and just never could quite get the winner, who just hugged the rail the entire time, rode the bias. And same with the 3rd place finisher, was on the inside the entire time and rode the bias. I thought she ran really well that day. Getting on the grass the first time, a lot of grass pedigree. The dam was a stakes winner. A lot of siblings won on turf. So I think this is going to be a good move for her. Second off the bench, she's going to be 4th place in a race that does not have much speed in it. Go to the front on the inner. The inner's gotten really speedy all week. So definitely go to the front with this filly and see if you can take them all the way. Kendrick, one more time for the win. And other horse I would use would be the 5, Say Yes to Dreams for Chad Brown. Comes out of the same race as Mikee's favorite horse, Peak Hype. And this horse had a lot more trouble than Peak Hype did. It wasn't like significant trouble, but she did have to pause a couple of times in the stretch, whereas Peak Hype just had a clear path in the stretch. So this horse came flying late. Needs some help up front because she does come from way out of it. But if someone comes from off the pace, I think she's the one that gets the job done.
I get the My Sharona idea a lot. You see, this was an old school angle where the weather this year, we have a little rain, but it gets dry. When it gets dry late in the meet, there can be a real tilt towards speed on this course. And my Sharona, coming from the dirt with that turf blood, could be one to take advantage of it. Chris, what numbers do you want on your tickets to close things out?
The 5 is the horse to beat, of course. The U.S. debut never had a chance. Just, set too far back, turned for home, never got a lane, wrapped up, just coasted in. But there's some scary horses in here. The one we know nothing about, I'm going to have that one as a B, but does scare me a little bit just from an unknown standpoint. The 12, Divine Rose, is an A. I'd like to use the 5 and the 12, but probably I'm just going to have to pick one, which will be the 5. Super scary stat here on Brown. I know Pratt gets off the 9 to get on the favorite, or what I assume is going to be the favorite. Chad, of course, great percentage in this spot, 30%, 62% in the money. At Saratoga, 10 for 20, 85% in the money. I don't, if you're Pratt's agent or Pratt, of course you pick the 5, all logic standpoint, but the 9 really would scare me if I was investing a lot of money here. And then the 3, I thought has run honest races, would be more of a BC horse, but could trip out. The 6 is scary, showed speed on debut. Without Lasix, kind of had that speed and fade look. Then went in the dirt, gets to the turf with Lasix today for the first time. If I could figure out a way to single somewhere else and use all 6 of them horses, I would feel confident when I got here.
Gotcha. And that's not even using the one that Jackson and I like. So it's
right.
It's tough. This is a tough race. But 5 and 12, the main 2 for you.
Yeah. If I had to put them in order, I'd say 5, 12, 9.
Okay. 5, 12, and 9. And then I'll mention the one. I'm just making notes for myself here. 1, 3, and 6. How about you, Mikey, for the key question when it comes to this carryover closing day at Saratoga? How are we going to get paid?
I mean, I was on the 5. I think he's obvious here. And if you watch that replay, just like, I mean, everyone said it, but no chance. They had to wrap up on this horse several times in the stretch and just kept going forward. So I think any kind of better trip here would be. I do think that this horse should improve and probably should beat these horses. But I understand when Jackson was giving me the case actually offline for the 8. I do understand that one. I think that that's a good look there, and that's going to be a price that you may want to even just play. This will be a good horse in doubles and things like that because he's just not going to take a lot of money. So I do think that one has a lot of merit. I'm not sure what to do with the 12. I mean, it's Cherie, it's Jose Ortiz, outside posts. What sort of trip does this one get? If you get a forward trip there, maybe that they come out early and are able to get over and be in the 2 path. I do think that this horse's chances go way up, but ultimately
it doesn't sound terribly likely though, does it?
No, I mean probably not. That's my problem there. So I would be heavy 5. I think it's the last race of the meet. Everybody's just going to be trying to get that one more win. It could heat up, and then this horse will be flying late down the middle.
All right, good stuff. That's a good analysis of that pick 6. It is, if you can decide where to break the eggs, it is not quite as crazy as I thought, but I'm punting that responsibility to you today, Mikey. I've taken notes. I'll send them to you. You can make the decision on that one. I can help with any sort of structure and actually placing the bet if we decide to do it. I also don't mind at all just watching, and hopefully people are getting something out of this. We got a big crowd with us now. Jim Tragos, who's been here with us on these shows, offering some thoughts in the comments. That's great. Jay Beckenstein, remembering Nutella Fella. That was a surprise. That was the spin away, right? A few years ago.
No, I think it was a hopeful. That was a hopeful.
That was the hopeful. Oh my God. That was a surprise winner, to say the least.
Yeah.
It can happen, right? That would be I guess that was a reference to your AI case, would be basically be the same thing. So it has happened before, so I shouldn't make it sound like it can't. Did we have anything in the comments of things people wanted us to talk about? One thing I want to know is Jackson's spot plays for Del Mar, because they're always interesting.
Real quick, I was looking at Sports Freak, the Crudo with Johnny V. The problem for that horse is going to be Jaramillo on 5. That horse is going. If that horse is not on the lead, that means it didn't leave the gate. And I had that horse noted down. If you just wanted to get crazy and spread, that horse gets brave on the front end. they'll look at these PPs and see speed, and there's a ton of it in here, and everybody takes back. We're all going to be sitting there going, what the hell's happening?
Mm-hmm. It's happened before there.
It is a reasonable hypothesis. So, yeah, hit it. Even if you requested something earlier in the comments, make my life easy and hit it again and tell us what you want to hear. Meanwhile, Jackson will run us through a couple ideas at Del Mar as we're now firmly into the back half of the show. We usually do an hour on these Inner Circle shows.
Let's go, Jackson.
What do you got?
We got one horse for you guys today. I got to do a bit of a deeper dive still, but Mohaven in the stakes race is a horse I've been a big fan of. I absolutely loved her last time, and she did what she was supposed to do when she drew in from the E and just ran that field off their feet. And look, the horse that she beat came back to win Pacific last day very, very impressively. So I think that was a good field she beat that day. And a lot of horses are coming out of the common race and the stake race, and it did not look that impressive. It looked like they're kind of just running in place late. I think she's, the horse coming out of a different race that you probably want, and she's drawing the inside. They're going to go again. They're going to have to come catch her, and I just think she's better than these horses. So if you get anywhere near 5-2, I'd be hammering that.
Well, there's our get out horse, because that's going to be 9:05 Eastern. Saratoga will be 4 hours in the books at that point. So
if I have a day like I did yesterday, I'll need one hell of a get out.
Yeah, it was tricky yesterday. Race number 10, the 2, Mohaven for Jackson. Yeah, I had a day on TV like few I've ever had. I'm never a knock winners guy, but if somebody writes in and asks me what do I think of this 14-1 shot, I'll always say something like, I'm never going to talk you off a 14-1 shot, but here's why I don't like the horse. Like 3 of them won yesterday. Had a bunch of winners, but all short prices. I had multiple of my 14-1 shots who ran last or second to last. It was a kick in the teeth kind of a day. And my horse in the Nashville Derby, my top pick the Mott horse ran horribly there. So it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun.
One more horse I'm not going to be betting. I'm just curious to see how he does. Is Full Serrano finally comes back out of his Breeders' Cup 30-mile win. So he's running in the second race, I believe. So I'm just curious to see how he runs, because he was impressive in that race last year.
One for the tracker potentially.
What did I tell y'all about earlier?
It was race 4,
race 4, the 5 desperate proposal. I like a little bit today at Saratoga.
Let me write that down. Race 4, the 5 for Chris at Saratoga. What about you, Mikey? Any spot plays leap to mind?
Okay, so race 7 at Del Mar here, and it's Mount 16th over the turf. I think there's a couple in there, but the 8 Princess M2 is in there. This horse lost the nose to Velocity, who ended up coming back and upsetting a couple, of the heavies there in the Del Mar Oaks. Beat Lush Lips, beat Thought Process. This one got beat an inch to that one back on July the 20th. So I do think that this horse, third back, could be, a candidate to move up. So third time over the turf, I think could be an okay price. 8-1 morning line. And then Ribbons is in that race also. Just a speed type. I wish they might change the jockey on that horse, but I think has raced pretty well so far in the 3 starts. So I like those 2 horses in that race to maybe upset the favorite.
So we did have a specific question for Chris, but of course I've lost track of which race this was.
I covered that. That was the 2-year-old baby race.
Great. Just wanted to make sure we got that. To be honest, there's no Kentucky Downs to look at. I haven't done Del Mar yet. We've talked about every race I've done. So somebody else, if we don't have any requests, somebody else talk about something else they've looked at and put it out there. Or we don't have to go an hour. That's just what we typically do. We could wrap it up a little bit early today. But does anybody else have anything they want to talk through or talk about or ask somebody else on the panel?
I got one more at Del Mar. Oh, go
ahead.
Del Mar race number 9. Hawker. Number 5, just total speedball in a race. There's really only one other speed horse in the race that, Smart Code has come from the pace before and been effective. So maybe that horse will try to rate a little bit today, hopefully, because Hawker ran really well last time. They absolutely flew. They opened up 6 or 7 lengths on the backstretch with I think it was like 4-1 long shot to finish way up the track. And this horse ran well to still win that day. And a couple horses have come out of that race to already win. So up the class ladder for sure. But if this horse can get brave on the front end, he could be dangerous in that spot.
Yeah, what are you seeing in Del Mar in terms of any biases late in the meet, Jackson?
I think the grass at least has been pretty fair. I think the colony has been a little bit more passive than most years. We've seen a number of races that look a little New York turf racing like, which has led to some speed horses just kind of dominating on the front end, which is surprising because usually we get some very honest paces. But it's been very fair. If you go fast, you're going to pay the price, and if they do let them walk the dog, you're going to win the race too. So nothing too crazy. I haven't thought.
Mikey, you had something you were going to volunteer. Was it a question? Was it a pick? Where were you going?
No, I just think that when we talked about doing the show, we were all very focused on that pick 6 at Saratoga. So, maybe some of these other plays we just haven't quite got to yet. So, if we wrap it early, that's totally, I think, okay.
Yeah, 3 days in a row, I burned. It took me forever to get through these massive 6 races at Saratoga.
Yeah, normally on this show, right, it's a Saturday. There's so much stuff. We've all looked at 3 things. We've never had this. We've never sort of talked about what we programmed with this much time left. Let's see what Dan H has to say. Spot play. We like this. Yeah, we want to hear what you have to say, too. We can absolutely do that. Win place show potential spot play pre-trial statement in race 3 at Saratoga. Yeah. I haven't thoroughly been through that one yet, but did anybody look at that race? What do we think of that horse?
I've got to look at that race. I've still got the first 3 and probably going to miss the first one. So
yeah, only 24 minutes to the first race.
Yeah.
They are getting started early, which I appreciate, trying to give people an opportunity, I guess, to including myself, to get downstate. We're going to be hanging for a little bit longer. Timeform has plenty of other pace in there, but that horse, I feel like that horse has been entered and scratched a couple times too, like maybe a fairly carefully chosen spot.
I remember that horse.
And, it is an important scratch with the New York Scrappy horse, the 6 coming out, as that one was 5-2 on David's morning line. So that one definitely going to be open. And you will see that sometimes in picks. If a morning line favorite scratches, and the public doesn't like as intuitively understand in picks always, like which horses are the ones who are going to be to catch money. So I don't mind that. Not having handicapped the race, I can't really second the emotion of the pretrial horse, but I can say feels like the right kind of a pool to fish in anyway. All right, good stuff. Well, I think we wrap it, and then Mikey will talk, or I'll send you these notes and we'll make a decision if we want to do a group bet or not. If you like this type of content in the Money Inner Circle, you can't join it right now, but you can join Plus, and then you can upgrade when we reopen, which will happen at some point, maybe for Keeneland / Breeders' Cup. And Plus is pretty cool in and of itself because you end up getting a bunch of extra shows with a lot of the people you're seeing on screen and a lot more people as well. Extra articles and content. It's been so fun reading what Nick Tamaros had extra at Saratoga, what Frank Scatoni's been doing out at Del Mar. We're going to have more of that for Keeneland and throughout the year. We're a 12-month-a-year operation, no off season for us in horse racing. For Chris and Jackson and Mikey, I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale. Thanks for tuning in to this free preview of ITM Inner Circle.